Hello everybody, my name is Bod and welcome to Combat Cash. UFC 321 Aspinall versus Gane takes place this weekend in Abu Dhabi, where I'm going to be breaking down the entire card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. Starting off the card, we have Jacqueline Emirim versus Mizuki Inoue. Jacqueline being 4-5 in her last 5, Mizuki being 3-2 in her last 5. And I'm going to have to go with Jacqueline here. You see, Mizuki, she's not a touted prospect. She's 31, she's old. And my main concern is ring rust. Her last fight was 2 years ago, and prior to that, 5 years ago. Her last win being Hannah Goldley, individual who's no longer in the UFC, 6-3. Loss coming off of Amanda Lemos, fair enough, that's Amanda Lemos. And 2 wins against other individuals who are not in the UFC. You see, Jacqueline, on the other hand, being 4-5 in her last 5, is coming off a sub against Polyana Viana, but what does that mean nowadays? You know, Polyana is an OnlyFans model at this point, but still, reputable win, especially Polyana having great jiu-jitsu. Vanessa Demopoulos, though that's not a great win because I think Vanessa sucks, but she's got great counter wrestling, she's got a good power punch, and she gave a lot of people some problems, and Jacqueline made it seem really easy. Other 2 wins being Corey McKenna by sub, and Montserrat Conjuring Ruiz by KO. See, Jacqueline being a -450 and Nuki being a +350. There's not a lot of room to bet here. But if I had to make a bet, I think Jacqueline's going to win by sub. And I have her winning by sub or KO within the first 2 rounds. I really think she runs through Mizuki. Mizuki seems like she's there for a check or she has a contract obligation. It makes no sense why these 2 are fighting. But they are. It makes no sense why Mizuki's in the UFC. But welcome to Dana White 2025, you know? So I'm going to have to go with Jacqueline, and I say she gets it done within the first 2 rounds. Moving up the card, we have Azcat Maxim versus Mitch Raposo. I'm going to have to go with Azmat here. And I know I'm butchering his name, but let me get to it. Both of them are coming off 2 losses. Both of them are 3-5 in their last 5. But here's the issue. Mitch Raposo has great capability. Mitch Raposo is a good fighter, but in times when I'm watching him fight, I feel like he's hesitating in there. I feel like, I wouldn't say he's scared, but he doesn't get his game off. He lands his 1s and 2s, lands a low kick, even mixes in a takedown, but he doesn't do much with it. He doesn't follow up with that 4-5-6. He's not stringing together his combos. He seems a little hesitant. On the other side, Azat, you know, he's a Kazakhstani. Come on, what do you expect? He's got great submissions. He's got great wrestling. And let's look at his last 2 losses. His last loss coming against Tagir Ulanbekov for UD, which is not a terrible loss. You know, Tagir, a lot of people give him a little bit too much credit because he's Khabib's cousin, but he's all right. And prior to that, he's coming off a loss against Charles Johnson, but everyone knows Charles Johnson at this point is a touted prospect killer. I mean, he even knocked out Joshua Van not even a year ago, and now Joshua Van's challenging for the title. And before that, his 3 wins were Tyson Nam, split decision, terrible look. And his other 2 wins are, unfortunately, in the regional scene. And moving on to Rich Raposo, you know, Sumer Derji is a terrible loss. When I say he's a terrible loss, I think he's a terrible loss. Sumer Derji is coming off that win against Kevin Borjas, but dude, he sucks, man. Like, Sumer Derji is also like small for 125, which is crazy to say. He doesn't string together combos. He throws long-range kicks and punches. Like, he's just not good, and he's so easy to just beat. If you just take him against the cage and just wrestle fuck him, like, I feel like anybody could beat Sumer Derji. So Mitch Raposo was having his moments. He was, but I don't know. As I said, I think his inactivity will always cause him to lose. You know what I mean? And before that, Andre Lima, I think is overrated, but still, you know, like, fair enough, good loss. And then the last 3 wins were all in the regional scene 2 years ago, and I just don't like that. I see Azat Maxim winning. I don't see him winning inside the distance. I see a hard-fought decision, 29-28 UD, maybe even 30-27 UD, but I don't see this go to split. I just don't see Mitch Raposo doing enough. You know, that's the issue. When he does have those big moments, he doesn't capitalize. That's the main issue with me here. So I'm going to have to go with Azat Maxim. Moving up the card, Chris Barnett versus Hamidi Amadouhab. I'm butchering his fucking name. What do you want me to do? This is a tough fight. This is a really tough fight, and I'll tell you why. It's not that both these guys are good. It's not that it's a hard stylistic matchup. It's that both of these are fucking terrible. Chris Barnett is washed, old, and he had his moments when he was younger in the UFC, but now he's 3-5, coming off that KO loss against Kennedy Nzechukwu, and prior to that, he has a win against Jake Collier, who sucks, and that was 3 years ago. And I don't want to get into this, but Chris Barnett also had a lot of outside things that might be impacting him, such as when his house got destroyed by the flood and a bunch of other things. And on the other side, Hamidi Aldoab is coming off against a loss against Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman, being the touted brother of the famous Kamaru Usman, sucks dick. It was two fat fucks throwing punches at each other for 15 minutes straight, and it was not heavy shots or being like, whoa, what? It was fucking terrible, dude. It was just, they both gas. And before that, his win against Jamal Pogues by split decision was also terrible. I don't understand how the odds makers have this at -400 to +300, because I think both these guys are equally shit. But with Chris Barnett having more UFC experience, I'm going to have to give the edge to Chris Barnett. And I know I'm going against the population's perspective. And the main concern for me here is not even that Hamidi does something great and comes out and takes Chris Barnett, or Chris Barnett gasses out. Because, dude, I'm telling you, this is a pretty even matchup. My concern is this goes to the judges' scorecards, and being in Abu Dhabi, it's going to get rigged. We can all sit here and bullshit it and try to cope, but we know a lot of fights should have gone a different way than they actually did. But, you know, it's fucking UFC in Abu Dhabi. What do you expect? So I'm going to have to give it to Chris, and I do not think he knocks out Hamidi. He might be able to. He might be able to make that statement, get that 50K. But, man, if he doesn't knock him out in the first, live bet a fucking decision, because this is a shit show of a striking match. Two guys right at the heavyweight limit. None of these guys with an athletic capability in their fucking bones. I don't know. Just a terrible fight. Up the card, we have Jose Delgado versus Nathaniel Wood. Now, finally, we have a fight I want to talk about. I am excited, man. Jose Delgado is 5-0 in his last 5. Nathaniel Wood is 4-5 in his last 5, and both these guys are great prospects. So let's start off with Jose Delgado. Before I make a decision, before I can say who's going to win, let's start off with Jose Delgado. Jose Delgado is 5-0, coming off that spectacular KO win against Haider Emil, and prior to that on his Contender Series fight, he came off a KO against Connor Matthews, and 3 regional Contender Series fights and UFL. What does that really mean? Let's just realistically talk about the touted prospects that he has fought. Haider Emil is no slouch, man. Haider Emil was on a KO streak. He beat William Gomez, which was really good by decision. And I'll be honest with you guys, I picked Haider to win that fight. I thought Haider's skill, his ferocity, his relentless pressure would be too much for Delgado, because though Delgado has KO power, though he's a savage, he likes to pick his shots. He's a JDM type guy where he stands back, and when he sees an opportunity, he's not going to throw 1s and 2s. He's going to be throwing 1, 2, 3, and that 3 is going to lay you out. On the other side, we have Nathaniel Wood. See, Nathaniel Wood's coming off a UD against Morgan Charrier, which is a good win, really good win. Morgan Charrier being the Frenchman, coming off that win against Nate Landwehr. And Daniel Pineda UD, and his only loss in his last 5 being against Mohamed Naimov, which is a fair loss. Mohamed Naimov is a savage, and I'm pretty sure that fight was also in Abu Dhabi. And Andre Fili and Charles Jourdain. Man, this is a hard fight. This is a really hard fight to pick, because on one hand, we have Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood is not only a title prospect, and people have been looking forward to his upcoming in the UFC. He's got great experience, man. He's fought really good opposition. Are you serious? Morgan Charrier, Daniel Pineda kind of sucks. Mohamed Naimov, Andre Fili, Charles Jourdain. Coming off that win against Charles Jourdain 3 years ago, that win has aged so well. Considering what Charles Jourdain did against Davey Grant last weekend, man, great. Jose Delgado, he's come off a great win against Haider Emil, and he's got that dog in him. But I think he might be a fish out of water here. I really think unless he lands that KO shot, I think if it goes to decision, Nathaniel Wood is going to win. Nathaniel Wood is a much more complete MMA fighter. Jose Delgado's got him on the feet. And even then, Nathaniel Wood was no slouch on the feet. But if I'm Nathaniel Wood, here's what I'd be scared of. I think here's how the first round's going to play out. I think Jose Delgado is going to come out there. Nathaniel's going to be chopping at that leg, and he's going to land hard too. See, the thing is, when Jose Delgado lands that straight, he'll follow it up. And I think that relentless pressure of when he tries to throw that hook, maybe throw a low kick, and then he waits against the cage to throw that big shot, I think Nathaniel Wood is going to be able to recover. You see, Hydermeal was not able to recover. Hydermeal came in, boom, sniped, straight to the ground, dazed and confused. Nathaniel Wood is not that guy. Nathaniel Wood is a game planner. He's smart. I don't see him even trying to finish Jose. I think Jose is the type of guy where you have to actually break him down. See, I'm picking Nathaniel Wood to win because I don't understand why he's an underdog. I don't understand why he's an underdog here. I would say it's recency bias against Jose Delgado, who is coming off that great KO win. But, man, I think it's a little bit too much too soon. I would have liked to see him fight another newly endowed prospect, but I'm going with Nathaniel Wood, but I would not be surprised, keyword, I would not be surprised if Jose Delgado gets that KO shot in the second or maybe even first round. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to go, unfortunately. Up the card, Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. Man, I'm a fan of Walter Walker, and he was supposed to fight Muhammad Usman, and I think he would have got another ankle. I think he would have gone another ankle pick because Muhammad Usman fucking sucks. Zero wrestling, zero striking. He's terrible, but whatever. Louis Sutherland. See, Louis Sutherland was supposed to fight one of the Tafa brothers, one of those fat fucks, and he was supposed to finally retire him. But, you know, the fat fuck couldn't even make the heavyweight restriction, like 265. You got hospitalized for cutting weight to make 265. And I'm talking about Tafa here. What a fucking shit show. I got Walter Walker winning here. I do. I just do. But I would not be surprised if Louis Sutherland lands that KO shot. And I think a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that. Why? Because I think a lot of people think that Walter Walker is just going to run through this guy and make it seem like it's no big deal. But Louis Sutherland is not a trash can. And he's a can in the sense of, yeah, he's a regionally ranked guy. He's not fond of the UFC yet. But, man, like, Louis Sutherland seems like he's built like a fucking NFL linebacker because the guy is huge. He's huge. He's jacked. He's decently fast. He's strong. Like, you should look at his regional film. Like, his last fight against Luke Newland. Luke Newland sucks, but, man, he just fucking throws missiles. Louis Sutherland just throws missiles. But Walter Walker's got UFC experience. I don't know how clean his striking is because we know his grappling is second to none. We know his submission game is second to none. We haven't seen him strike. So my precaution to anyone betting on Walter Walker would be that Walter might come in there, disrespect this guy, considering that, you know, he was supposed to fight last weekend, and try to take him out immediately, and Louis lands a big punch. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Walter Walker is going to go in there. He's going to tag Louis with a 1-2, fucking bulldoze him to the fence, take him down. A lot of people think he's going to get the ankle lock. I think he's going to get like a rear naked choke. I think he's going to like fucking choke the shit out of this motherfucker. And then he's going to walk away doing his bullshit like fucking this and calling out the Tafa brothers or whatever. But I have Walter Walker winning inside the first round. I just do. I just do. And, you know, Sutherland does have that chance. See, this right here, it's a little disrespectful. All these Tapology guys that they do this voting, it's just a bunch of like retards like me thinking they know everything. But putting all your chips in one basket on Walter Walker, not a good call. Up the card. Al-Sawadi versus Mateus Camelo. Sawadi being 4-5 in his last 5. Camelo being 4-5 in his last 5. It's pick 'em odds. He's coming off against a loss against Roik Razadibirov. Once again, come on, man. Like, these fucking daggies. You really think I'm going to be able to say their name? I can't. And Camelo's coming off a loss against Gabe Green. And both their last wins were on the regional scene, except he won against George Hardwick. And Hardwick brothers, who I actually very much rate. Like, you know, I know one of them just came in and got his fucking ankle broken by, not his ankle, sorry, his like leg broken by leg kicks. But those boys can scrap. This is a shit show of a fight. They're both 155ers. They're both coming off a loss. Their experience, I would say, is relatively the same. Neither of them have beat anybody really well. And it's hard to make a prediction for this fight and be definitive and try to say how this fight comes out. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Abdul. And I'm going to tell you why. Mateus Camelo has really good Muay Thai. But Abdul has really good range. And he's a little bit shorter. And I think him being a little bit shorter, having a lower center of gravity, will give him the ability to take down Camilo and ride him out. You know what I mean? But I think we're going to see a lot of moments where Camilo's piecing up Abdul on the feet. I think we're going to see Abdul hurt for sure. But I think we're in Abu Dhabi. The wrestling is going to triumph the striking, without a doubt in my mind. But I can see this fight going either way, but I'm just giving the slight edge to Abdul. Not much to say about this fight. Two guys who are up-and-comers, practically debutantes. You know, both of them lost in their debuts, but this is their real debut against another contender. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Next up, Mateusz Rebecki versus Ludovic Klein. Ho, ho, ho. Fuck me, am I excited for this fight. Rebecki being 3-5 in his last 5, Ludovic being 4-5 in his last 5. I think Ludovic, Mr. Highlight, is about to get another fucking highlight. Let me tell you about Mateusz Rebecki, this fucking cocksucker, bro. Mateusz was in one of my parlays against Chris Duncan. Would have cashed out huge, but I lost. But, you know, fair enough to Chris Duncan. It was a scrap. But here's the thing, man. Rebecki has 0 IQ. I swear to fucking God, these fights that this guy's losing or the scraps he's getting into, he doesn't need to. He's so much of a powerhouse. He's so explosive. He's got good grappling. Doesn't utilize it much, but he's got great grappling. He's fucking strong, but he can take a punch. But I swear to God, this guy, like, after 2.5 minutes of the first round, his brain just turns off and it's just a war. And listen, bro, I love him for that. I love his fucking ferocity, and we don't have like fighters in the UFC anymore. We have athletes, you know what I mean? But he's a fighter. But man, in his last 3 fights, he's fought Chris Duncan and Orbalai, which he won against Orbalai. But here's the issue, man. Rebecki takes so much damage. Dude, the scar tissue's fucked. Like, the guy takes so much damage, and he just can't do it anymore. He gets cracked and dropped in both those fights. He got cracked and dropped, cut up above the eye. His eye swelled shut in both those fights. And I think all the damage that's been done to him at such a young point of his career, it's going to add up. And Ludovic Klein is a fucking freight train. Ludovic is either on or off. And let me tell you why sometimes he's off. If you are a guy who plays it slow, like an Izzy Adesanya, pick your shots. Ludovic will fall apart. He's not a guy who likes to play the slow game, and it kind of throws him off, and the guy gets, I don't want to say scared, but skittish, like, oh, fuck, like, and he's trying to play that game, and he'll lose that game. But when you engage in the chaos, when you want to engage in the chaos with him, and Rebecki's not the type of guy where you wait he doesn't wait for you to go into him and start going to war. Rebecki brings the war to you, and I think Ludovic Klein is going to do a step back, fucking, like, McGregor and what's the other fucker's face? Dominic Cruz, like, cross to the face, and I think he's going to drop Rebecki. Rebecki has a chin in the sense of he can recover, man, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rebecki recovers, but I think at the very least it's going to be a doctor stoppage, man. Like, Ludovic Klein, I think he's going to piece up Rebecki, and I think he's going to finish him 2nd or 3rd round. But we'll see. I'm very confident in Ludovic Klein. Very confident. Moving up the card, Ikram Aliskerov versus Jung Young Park. Ikram Aliskerov being 4-5 in his last 5. Jung Young Park also being 4-5 in his last 5. Ikram Aliskerov coming off that win against Andre Muniz, terrible fighter. And prior to that, Robert Whittaker with his loss. And that was on short notice, which is a fair loss. It was KO, it was a bad loss, but I think it was a fair loss. Iron Turtle. I love the Iron Turtle. He's coming off his win against Ismail Nadradayev, and before that, Brad Tavares, split decision, and before that, his loss against Andre Muniz. See, MMA math does not work. I think a lot of people here would just be like, oh, Ikram knocked out Andre Muniz. Jung Park lost to him, split decision. But it's not going to work like that. Irrelevant to all that, though, Ikram's going to win. Ikram's going to fucking... I really think he's just going to beat the shit out of Jung Young Park. I think it'll be hard for, like, the first 3 minutes because he's going to feel him out. Because Jung Young Park, a lot of people don't understand, like, dude, he uses his 1s and 2s, which he has crazy output. Like, he puts up crazy numbers to get his takedowns. I mean, he's on the ground. He's a suffocating guy. But, dude, he's fighting a fucking OV. And what do I mean by OV? Aliskerov, bro. These fucking Dagestanis, man. They're crazy. They're crazy. But he's not just a Daggy. You know, a lot of these Daggy guys are like, we're so dependent on his wrestling or his submission game. But not Ikram, man. Ikram's got clean boxing. He uses his kicks every now and then, but what he's got is clean boxing. He throws in that ones, twos, uppercuts. He changes angles. He throws to the body. He lands the knees. He's a very aggressive guy, and he always looks to get that finish, and I'm always happy to see him fight. And even Khamzat Chimaev, so he has 2 losses on his record, one of them being Khamzat Chimaev by KO in the regional scene, and one of them being Robert Whittaker by KO, both of them being by uppercut. And Khamzat Chimaev said Ikram was his hardest fight ever. You see, like, Ikram is a guy who I think they've been building up. A lot of these times, a lot of these guys, they rush him into the rankings, but they've been feeding him cans. Like, I can't hate, but they've been feeding him cans. Like, come on. Andre Muniz is a can. Worldly Alves, are you serious? Phil Hawes, are you serious? And then Mario Sousa, which was just in Contender Series, who's an alright fighter. But Jung Young Park is just, he's got a lot of miles on him, and there's nothing particularly special about him. That's my main thing. And he's got a durability issue. A lot of people would argue with me on that, but man, you should look back against that fight against Brad Tavares. I think he won that decision because he was able to take Tavares' back a few times, but it's a big thing, man. Like, Iron Turtle can get hit. He does not have head movement, and he's got a fucking target. He's a stationary target, and I have Ikram Aliskerov winning this fight by KO within the first or second round. If I had to guess, I would say I would lean more towards the first, because Ikram does not start slow. He likes to fucking feel out the first 2 minutes, where I was saying, well, you'll see maybe a tough little fight, but once he can just shuck off Iron Turtle, maybe once or twice against the cage, when he feels that I could just shuck this fucking guy off if he gets on me, I think he's going to fucking lay the heat, and I think he's going to finish Jung Young Park. Up the card, Nasrat Hakparas versus Quinlan Skilland, the race destroyer. Nasrat Hakparas 5-0 in his last 5. Quinlan Skilland 5-0 in his last 5. Nasrat coming off that win against Esteban Ribovic, great win. Quinlan coming off that win against Yanil Ashmuz. It's Yanil fucking Ashmuz. And before that, Anshul Jubli. And before that, Gage Young in the Contender Series. Fair enough, I guess. I got Nasrat Hakparas. Man, like, Quinlan Skilland is a very complete MMA fighter. I would say that Quinlan Skilland mixes in the takedowns great. Power in his punches. I want to say he's, like, fast, but he's quick. You know what I mean? Like, he's, like, quick and twitchy. Nasrat, on the other hand, great kickboxing. We see his wrestling every now and then, not much, but man, that Esteban Ribovic fight, even though I think Esteban won that fight, it was very close. And before that, Jared Gordon. Before that, Jamie Malarkey. Before that, Landon Quinones. Dude, Nasrat has so much UFC experience, and he's fighting good guys. And his last one was against another touted prospect, and that win has aged so well. And even his win against Jared Gordon, a lot of people are going to be shitting on Jared Gordon because of his last fight, but Jared Gordon, the Flash, man, like, he's a good guy. People forget, man, like, Jared Gordon's a fucking good fighter, man. And Quinlan Skilland is young. He's 25. He's not developed yet. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC. I think it's a little bit too much, a little bit too soon. I'd say it's going to be 29-28 UD Nasrat Hakparas. I think it's going to be a decision, and I think we're going to have moments where Quinlan's going to be that guy, but we're just going to see that Nasrat is just going to be one step ahead of him. But we'll see. We'll see. Up the card. Alexander Rakic versus Azmat Muzakhanov. Holy fuck, boys, on my raw card. This fight is going to be fucking dope, man. Why is it going to be dope? Because Alexander Rakic, it says 6'4" here. This motherfucker is not 6'4". He's like 6'5", 6'6". He looked big. He looked huge against Yuri. And on the other side, Muzakhanov is 5'10". But Muzakhanov 5-0 in his last 5. Rakic 3-5 in his 2-5 in his last 5. Even odds. So Rakic coming off that loss against Yuri Prochazka. Before that, Magomed Ankalaev, and before that, Yuri Prochazka, and before that, Blachowicz, and his last one being 4 years ago against Thiago Santos. Terrible look. Muzakhanov coming off that brutal KO against Brenson Ribeiro, and KO against Alonzo Menafield. UD against Justin Jacoby. Kevin Clark, ground and pound. He's ass, but whatever. Tafon Nichuki by flying knee. Who do I have? Rakic. And that is not going to be the population's consensus. A lot of people are going to be on Azamat because Azamat hits like a freight train. That motherfucker can throw a sledgehammer. He can wrestle like a motherfucker too. But man, Rakic has lost 3 straight to the top 3 fighters, the current champion, the number 1 contender, and number 2. So that's a bad look. That should make him even money. And that fight against Magomed, he lost a UD, but man, it was a fucking close fight. Rakic has got great kicks, great low kicks, great body kicks, and he manages his range really well. That's what I say is his biggest strong suit. Like against the Yuri touts, and Yuri's very successful in the pocket, in the violence, in the freight of it all, but he was not letting him get to him. He was taking his shots. He was doing really well. And before that, his loss against Jan, that was 3 years ago, leg injury. What are you going to do? I don't know. I think Azamat, his best chance would literally be to throw a fucking overhand right and lay Rakic out. But like, man, like Rakic can just pick angles and play distance all day. I see him throwing teeps to the body. I see him throwing leg kicks, even an up kick down up the middle to his face. I can see him throwing a left hook. I can see him doing so much. And I think the main weapon to him is going to be that push kick. I think he's going to be throwing teeps and low kicks all day, and he's going to break down Azamat's legs. And when he breaks down Azamat's legs, his wrestling capability will go down. His ability to just lunge at you and throw those power shots is going to go down. I think as the fight goes long, we are going to see Rakic start to thrive. But in the beginning, I think Azamat could just disrespect him and run at him full force and try to secure a takedown, or more likely than not, push him against the fence, break off, boom, right hand. But I think everything is kind of in the favor of Rakic. He's the bigger guy. He's the younger guy. He's fought better opposition. And I would say when fighters are 3-0, like I picked Bruno Silva to beat Hong Sung Yo last week. And he was a huge underdog. Why did I do that? These guys, you have to keep in mind, are still human beings, man. And this gentleman right here, he's fighting for his career. 3-0. He's still in the rankings. He still wouldn't get fired, but you know what I mean. I really think Rakic is going to win here. And I think the odds are a little bit disrespectful for making it even money, but we'll take it. I think Rakic is going to win 3rd round KO, or we're going to see a decision. I think we're going to see even maybe like a 30-27, 29-28 UD decision. All right, moving up the card. Starting off the main card, we have Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. Fuck, I hate Jailton Almeida so much. I got Volkov. I think he beat Gane in his last fight. Sure, he lost, but we all agree he fucking won that fight. And he's a fucking dog. And he's got so much experience. And he's fought the best opposition. Like, dude, before Gane's loss, he went against Sergey, which was so great. Because listen, man, Sergey used to be the boogeyman in the division. Aspinall, a lot of people make the argument Aspinall changed that man. But, man, when he came against Volkov, he was coming to fucking win, man. Like, he probably felt super disrespected about how people were talking about him. Like, he was 8-0, all first-round KOs. But Volkov dismantled him. Volkov really knows how to use his range, which is so ironic. I keep saying that. But Volkov is the tallest UFC fighter currently on the roster, standing at 6'7". And he's just so good at using his range, and he's so good at using his kicks, and even his takedown defense is pretty good, man. When he gets his those double unders in, he's able to shuck you off. And on the other side, we have Jailton Almeida, who realistically is a light heavyweight, but he stays a heavyweight. Why? Why does he do that? Because the competition gap is so fucking low. There's so little competition in the heavyweight division that he is more likely to be a top contender in the heavyweight division and be like bottom 15 in the light heavyweight rankings. He's 4-5 in his last 5, coming off that win against Sergey Spivak by KO, which was, he just fucking took his back and just fucking, like, ref called it, like, whatever. Before that, Alexander Romanov, who's no longer in the UFC, fights in the PFL. And his KO loss against Curtis Blades. Man. This is what I mean. I think Jailton relies so much on his grappling and is so overconfident in his grappling that it runs him into problems. If he worked on his striking a little bit even, man, just to counter other people's striking, like, he could do really well, but, like, being so dependent on his grappling is never going to pay off. But he does have a little bit of advantage being 4 inches shorter than Volkov. He's got the ability to get those legs, but I think Volkov is not ignorant. I think Volkov's going to know that Almeida is going to be diving at those legs all fucking night. And Almeida's kind of a slouch on the feet, man. A lot of people don't notice, but I really think Almeida's a slouch on the feet. He uses his jab just to push you away towards the cage and just to land that double leg. Like I haven't seen this guy in an exchange where I'm just like, whoa, okay, this guy's no chump. He's low-key a chump. And when he grabs your legs, he doesn't give up. Like, even if you stuff the takedown, like Curtis stuffed his takedown. Curtis has D1 wrestling. I'm talking about Curtis, but he has D1 wrestling background. And what did he do? He just boom, back, just hit the side of his head over and over and over again. And instead of letting go, maybe trying to pull guard or push off him, do anything else, he just stayed there until he couldn't take it anymore and got KO'd. I think Volkov is going to probably KO Almeida as well. I think Volkov, it's a 3-rounder, but I think Volkov is going to KO him because I think Almeida is going to be diving at those legs, and there's a real chance Volkov just lands a knee up the middle. I really do. I really think that Volkov is going to be hitting Almeida, stinging him, and I think Almeida in the first little bit is not going to shoot for a double leg. Maybe a minute in, as soon as he starts getting stinged up, he's going to shoot that double leg. Volkov's going to shuck him off, and no, that's all that's coming. That's all that's coming throughout the night. And I think one of those times he's going to time it perfectly, clip him on the way in, and he's going to be put out. And I think he's going to go on that mic, and I think he's going to fucking call out whoever the winner of Aspinall versus Gane is, and talk about how the fact that fucking Dana White said that he's going to make it up to him for getting robbed against Gane, but he never did. I think this is Volkov's peak of his career. Ironic at 37, but hey, Glover won a title at 41. So I think this is the peak of his career. I think that he's gonna win by KO, and I think he's gonna call out the champ. And I have him winning by KO in the second round. And he's an underdog. How fucking ridiculous is that? This fucking guy who just beat Gane, guy who's challenging for the title, is the underdog. Like, what a fucking joke. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. What do you want me to say? Like, what do you think who am I going to pick? Of course I'm going to pick fucking Umar. Umar's coming off that loss against Murabdavashvili, which was so satisfying. And Mario's coming off that win against Patchy fucking Mix. And prior to that, he fought Jose Aldo. And prior to Jose Aldo, he fought Ricky Simone and Damon Blackshear and Guido Kennedy, who's no longer in the UFC. It's just whatever. I think that Mario Bautista is low-key anybody who's a touted prospect coming up. I think he's the perfect guy to call out. I think he is way too high up in the rankings for the wins that he does have at number 7. I think Mario Bautista, he's a good overall MMA fighter. He's good at everything, but he's not great at anything. You know what I mean? But Umar, on the other hand, he comes from the Nurmagomedovs. We fucking know these Dagestanis are good. I was saying it was really satisfying for him to lose because, man, these fucking Daggies and their fake humble bullshit. And it's not even I have anything against these Dagestanis. I have against their fan base, man. And these guys in Abu Dhabi, like these fucking Muslim guys, because they have zero clue what they're talking about. They're casuals, and they're just like, oh, brother Wayne, he smashed your boy. Like, I fucking hate him. Zero IQ, man. But we'll leave all that for now. I'm just going on a tangent. Umar, on the other hand, he's got great striking. I think he's got better striking than Islam Makhachev, who people would say is crazy. But listen, man, like Umar and his brother Usman, they started off in Taekwondo and Muay Thai. And he's got really great striking. He's got really great wrestling. He's got a great ability at mixing it up. And I think the only reason he lost against Merab was his gas tank. And he could have just given it to him, but he made some bullshit excuse. I break my hand. I think I win this fight though, brother. Fucking hell. But I think he could have won. I think he also in the future will be the guy who's most likely to beat Merab. I would give him one more after this because, man, Merab, people try to make so many different ways to analyze how he's going to lose. He's not going to lose unless you have equally as good as the gas tank as him. Anyways, Umar is a minus 450 and Mario's a plus 330. How do I see this fight going? Mario's got a chin. Mario's got really good wrestling. Probably fucking 30-27, 30-26 Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. Or I see Umar just fucking really trying to make a statement and just getting a rear naked choke. Or like a head and arm. Or maybe even what's called arm triangle. Yeah. I mean, what? He's not going to knock out Mario. Not that he doesn't have that capability. I mean, I just don't think he's going to. And I think Mario can hold his own in the wrestling. So I think we're going to actually see a lot more striking than we are wrestling in this fight. Because Mario, I think he's going to actually negate the takedowns pretty well. And I think Umar is going to realize, okay, this guy's good at wrestling, strike for a little bit. And I think he's going to be like, okay, I'm levels above this guy in striking and just probably ride it out. So I have Umar by submission or decision. If I had to guess what round he'd get a sub, it would be second or third. Because, you know, breaking down Mario. Mario's tired. He catches him off guard. Because that's what I mean. Like when Mario's on, though, in the first round where he's actually locked in, I don't see him just getting caught. That's the whole thing is what I'm trying to say is like he has the capability to survive. But once he's a little bit flustered, I think Umar can maybe sink in a choke. But we'll see. And our co-main event for this evening. Verena Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. Jandiroba being 5-0 in her last 5, and Mackenzie being 3-5 in her last 5. I have Verena, and I know everyone's gonna be going crazy over that because everyone's on Mackenzie Dern. Like, I mean, dude, Verena opened up as a -200, and now she's a +110. That means a lot of money poured in on Mackenzie. And it's best for the UFC if Mackenzie Dern wins. I mean, she's hot. She got fat bunda. And on top of that, mainly thing about it is she's very personable. She's very easy to sell. And a lot of people know her. And also her fighting style, man. Like, Mackenzie is a IBJJF World's Black Belt Jiu-Jitsu champion. Her striking is good. But she's in the striking department. Irrelevant to this fight. In the striking department, Mackenzie is just a little bit too aggressive. Where she gets clipped, where she gets hurt, and she gets cut up really easily. And kind of like, I would say Mackenzie's Dern's biggest downfall is her fight IQ. It's definitely her fight IQ because a lot of fights where she could be winning, but she loses because I just don't think she had good decision making. Like Jessica Andrade is just a fucking power puncher. And she was trying to strike with her for a fat minute, man. Like, she doesn't really blast doubles or do anything of the sort. She's great for when she blasts doubles. She will then be able to counter with fighting off her back. She's really confident throwing up triangles, maybe even an omoplata. But Verena has really grown into her own. She's 5 years older than Mackenzie, but miles are a thing. There's fight years and then there's age years. And I think Mackenzie is like fucking 55 in fight years because she gets fucking hurt. Even in the fight she wins, she's cut up, man. You know what I mean? And Verena has really grown into her own. She's 5-0. She's coming off that win against Zhao Jinan Yan, who gave Zhang Weili her toughest fight, in my personal opinion. Don't forget about Rose Namajunas, but whatever. I think she gave Zhao Jinan a great fight. Zhao Jinan's power puncher, great wrestling, strong girl, and she just couldn't negate Verena's takedowns. You just can't. So when she's on the ground, you just can't get up. And she subbed Amanda Lemos. Great win. Really good win. Amanda Lemos was giving her a good fight. She seemed like she actually had like a good takedown plan. And she was trying to fight off her back. But, man, it's Verena Jandiroba. Lupita Godinez. Really good win. Marina Rodriguez. All right win. Angela Hill. Pretty shit win. Man, everyone thinks that Mackenzie's black belt abilities is going to be able to negate Verena. I don't think it does. I think at most what it does is stops Verena from getting a sub. Because I don't think she will get a sub. But I don't think she's going to be able to shuck Verena off of her. I just think that's how it is. Mackenzie, maybe in like rounds 3 and 4, when Verena's a little bit tired, can land some shots. But, man, Verena is a fucking power force. And she's looking at you from both different eyes, man. Like, one eye's left, one eye's right. Like, you can throw a left kick or a right kick. It doesn't matter. Froggy does not fuck around. Froggy is going to come in there and fucking spam 20 takedowns against Mackenzie Dern, win a UD, and no one's going to give a shit. That's just how it is. Now it's time for the main event of the fucking evening, the time you've been waiting for. Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Okay, Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall. So I don't think Cyril Gane should even get this title shot because Cyril Gane has had 3 title shots over the past few years. Francis Ngannou, John Jones, and now Tom Aspinall. All of them undeserved. I mean, except Francis Ngannou, but fair enough. But, man, everyone knows that Cyril Gane has 0 grappling, 0 wrestling, to the point I think a blue belt would sub him in jiu-jitsu. The guy literally was getting ragdolled by Francis Ngannou, one of the least technically sound MMA fighters in history. He was a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but we're talking technique, and he was not a great technical guy. And he's fighting a guy in Tom Aspinall, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's been doing jiu-jitsu all his life. And he also doesn't do clean takedowns or some pussy bitch takedowns. This fucking guy runs at you, rugby tackles. Like, you see his takedown against Andrei Arlovsky? He fucking full-blown sprints at you, rugby tackles you, double leg, straight to the ground. And he always goes for a sub, and he fucking cranks that motherfucker. Like, if you get caught in a Kimura by him, I wouldn't be surprised if you're on fucking breaks. Cyril Gane, a lot of people make an argument for him against Tom Aspinall because he's like, oh, he's such a good Muay Thai striker, and Aspinall fights with his hands down, and I think it's a fair point, man. I think it's a really fair point. But dude, Ciryl Gane is not that guy. He is low key. He plays it safe type of striker. He picks his shots. He throws his ones, twos, threes, low kicks, body kicks, teeps, push kicks, but he doesn't throw weight behind them unless he feels like you're really hurt. If you're really hurt, he'll fucking push on the gas like against how he did against fucking what's his face, Shui motherfucker, Tai Tuivasa, where they were having a back and forth, but when he smelt blood in the water, then he throws his heavy strikes. And I don't think you're going to be able to have any type of hesitation or not start off at 100% against Tom Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall, Mr. Tripod, is a fucking freight train, and I think he's going to be the greatest heavyweight of all time. And I would fucking hate for him to lose because I hate Jon Jones and I hate his fanboys, but I don't see him losing this fight. And I don't think Aspinall is an ignorant individual. I think a lot of UFC fighters, when you try to make predictions, and they should win on paper, make very stupid decisions in the ring, which causes them to lose. But I think Tom Aspinall is a very smart game planner and a very intelligent person, where he's not going to be trying to strike with fucking Gane for 25 minutes and make a fucking bullshit statement. Everyone already knows he's that guy. He's knocked out his last two opponents. I think he's going to sub Gane. Everyone's on the consensus of knockout. I think he's going to sub Gane. Why wouldn't you? If you were in Tom Aspinall's shoes, why the fuck wouldn't you just go in there, touch gloves, blast a double on this motherfucker, hop on his back, and just sub him out? Why? I really think it would be like taking candy from a fucking baby. Because we know that this guy can't even wrestle against Sergey Spivak was having success against Ciryl Gane. Like, what the like, this is like two different ballparks, man, of skill. And on top of that, dude, I don't think Gane gives a fuck about his UFC career, man. I think he cares more about being an actor and an idol in France than he does being a UFC fighter. We don't see this guy develop, and he's kind of done what he's done for the past 5 years. It's just how he operates. I see Tommy Aspinall going in there, landing a few shots, even stunning Gane. And I see Gane even stunning Aspinall. But I think as soon as Aspinall feels it, boom, blast double. And I think he's going to get this done by Kimura. Yeah, I think he's going to get this done by Kimura. I think he's going to blast a double, go into side control, threaten a head and arm, or an arm triangle, sorry. Grab his arm, isolate it, boom, Kimura. Maybe even an Americana. I just think he just isolates that arm, and I don't think Gane's going to be able to do what he wants to do. And I see him finishing Gane within the first 2 rounds. I'll be honest with you, I see him finishing him in under half a round, but like he'll probably finish him in the first round. And I look forward to it, man. I look really forward to it. I look forward to Aspinall fucking finally kind of separating himself from Jon Jones, because obviously this guy was trying to press on to get that fight, because I mean, what else are you supposed to do? This guy wanted, you're in his position, you want to be the greatest of all time. It's like if I win the NFC West in football and I refuse to fight for the fucking, what's it called, to play in the Super Bowl. Like, it's stupid. Like, that's the inevitable goal. And I think now that Jon Jones is retired, this guy can start to make his own career, but people are still being like, oh, he didn't fight Jones though. Anyways, all that is irrelevant. I'm excited for this fight. Well, that's going to do it for me, everybody. That's UFC 321 Aspinall versus Gane recapped. It takes place this weekend in Abu Dhabi, and I look forward to it. And let's see what happens. Combat Cash out.